single day, Lagos generates over 13,000 metric tons of solid waste, more than many African countries produce in a week. But less than half of this waste is properly collected or disposed, while the rest piles up in streets, markets, and growing dump sites across the city, turning communities into ticking time bombs. From Ojota to Agege, Ayobo to Iyanoba, and across Lagos, waste is piling up faster than it can be managed, threatening both the health of residents and the environment.
Very, very hard, like just to struggle for myself and for my kids too. So that life in this place is just like just for you to look for somewhere to just hide your head, just put your head.
And they face a lot of challenges here in this place because like what I'm saying here, the place they live, kind of work they do, where they cook and what they eat every day. It's going to affect them because many of them are here just for them to survive.
There is just one of two things that is come up is that they will have to sell something before they will see money here to eat. Either they sell plastic or a rubber or keg or nylon. So they'll need to sell it. They'll work hard to get the money here. But in this place, you see a lot of people they are living here. It's not like they don't have the money to rent house, but the money is too hard for them to see. Even though if they see the money safe, they will have to buy something. If rain fall, you will see a lot of water before you are coming into this place.
But beyond residents, thousands of people depend on these dump sites for survival, selling food and scavenging recyclables in risky and unhealthy conditions just to make a living. The question remains, how is the government tackling this challenge, and what is the plan for communities like Ojota, where the health of thousands is at stake?
We have monitoring and compliance officers who go around to enforce environmental laws. So since last year, we've arrested and prosecuted close to 200 offenders for littering, for dumping bulk waste. And we've also sealed a lot of facilities, commercial facilities that have not been obeying the environmental laws. We need to reduce the amount of waste we're generating. We need to reuse as much of that waste as possible and also to recycle as much as possible. And that's the gospel we've been taking throughout the state. We're currently running a 2-bin system in Lagos. We have 2 bins, a green bin for general waste and a blue bin for mixed recyclables. And we have 80,000 of those, which we're selling through our websites. The 2 legacy dump sites at Olushosun and Solus 3 in Igodo. Each dump site will be replaced by a transfer loading station. From these transfer loading stations, we'll transport waste to new material recovery facilities, one in Ikorodu and one in Badagry. And those 2 sites collectively will process about 4,000 tons of waste out of the 13,000 we generate daily.
With this sensitization, we hope that the market women actually comply with the rules of the Thursday sanitation. That's number 1, which is very essential. Number 2 is to keep their goods and the things they sell in the proper places they are meant to keep them. Trade in the proper places they are meant to trade. Don't trade on the walkway. Abide by the rules. Leave the amount of meters that's left to be on the road for cars and vehicles to, to move around. And not only that alone, it's also essential for our market women as well. Once they are done with the day's trade, they should clean and sweep, the place that they've carried out their trade, their stores and their shops, put it in a proper, nice waste bin, tie it up, and take it to where the lawma operatives are meant to carry out, their duties, and make sure the disposal is as neat and as clean as possible. Because that's where we buy our food. That's where we buy a lot of things to take to our houses. And if it's not properly kept and the hygiene is not well done, we run dangers and, risk of having food disease and, disease outbreak.
While government agencies continue to emphasize citizen responsibilities, residents insist that stronger intervention and real actions are urgently needed to prevent further environmental and health crises.
In addition, we have waste to energy projects planned for our Ekpe dump site, which has been closed. That's by the free trade zone. There's going to be a waste to energy plant there to be constructed by Harvest Waste, a Dutch company. And that waste to energy plant will take in about 2,500 tons of waste daily to generate 60 to 80 megawatts of electricity to power the future of Lagos. Loma has a partnership with Lamata to build a biogas plant that will take in organic waste, both solid and liquid organic waste, and generate biomethane to power the mass transit fleet of Lamata and the compactor trucks that we use for collection of waste statewide.
For us as a local government, it's something we've done with our legislative arm within us here at Agege local government, is to make sure that anyone caught disposing waste the wrong way is going to be fined 50,000 naira, and they would also sign an agreement that allows us to know that once they do the same thing again, is either they pay more fine, and also we also hand them over to the necessary authorities to carry out all other regulations on the all other enforcement on them. For example, some people actually go to serve jail term, in regards to dropping refuse, illegally. That's one thing. And also environmental sanitation. People that don't sanitize, carry out sanitation in their houses, clean their drainages, will seal up their houses and ensure they pay a fine. After sensitization, which is the month of September, we are also going straight to inner street sweeping. We'll be bringing out people from the communities who will be appointed as street sweepers, and we'll pay them to make sure our inner streets are clean. We'll be making sure we carry along and the stakeholders around the ones that are nominated by the government to sweep the major highways, across local governments. Also, we are building an enforcement team, creating an enforcement team to manage people who have decided that they want to drop waste illegally. And not only that, we are also creating a drainage team that will be clearing all drainages across our local governments. We are also empowering and ensuring that we strengthen our own local security operatives to help us ensure that we catch people who are dropping waste illegally.
For now, Lagosians wait and hope that promises of cleaner, safer communities will move beyond talks and become a reality. Imisioluwa Afumisho, African News 24 TV. Then became ceremonial. 9. Alassane Ouattara of Ivory Coast. He gained power as the president since 2010 with controversial re-election bids, but he remains the president of Côte d'Ivoire till date. 10. Ali Bongo of Gabon. He is a politician and dictator. He was the third president of Gabon from 2009 until he was deposed in a coup in 2023. He ruled for 14 years after succeeding his father's 42-year reign.
In the heart of Ado-Ekiti flows a sacred river known as Omirin, the river of the vine fishes. Here, the waters do more than nourish the land. They carry the spirit of a goddess. Local legend tells of a powerful deity who transformed herself into this river, leaving behind as sacred children the fishes that swim within. To harm them is taboo. To eat them unthinkable. According to the people, no matter how long this fish boils, it will never soften.
Let's take the headlines first. Wike clash with naval officer sparks legal and security debates. Tinubu tasks editors on responsible journalism, national cohesion. Senate approves 1.15 trillion naira domestic loan to fill 2025 budget gap. Now to the news in full. The Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru, has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to protecting all military personnel performing their lawful duties across the country. Speaking at a ministerial press conference on the 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Celebration and Remembrance Day held at the National Defense College, Abuja, Badaru stressed that the Ministry of Defense and the Military High Command would stand firmly behind every officer acting within the law. The assurance followed Tuesday's altercation between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and a naval officer, Lieutenant A.M. Yerima, over a disputed parcel of land in Abuja, allegedly belonging to former Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo. The incident, which drew widespread attention, involved attempts by the Federal Capital Territory Administration to reclaim the property, leading to a confrontation with the officer. Responding to questions from journalists, Badaru said the ministry has commenced investigations into the matter and would ensure fairness in its handling. He stated that no officer carrying out legitimate duties will be subjected to intimidation or undue interference, adding that the government would not tolerate any action capable of undermining military professionalism or moral conduct. Also, the confrontation between the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and a naval officer at a disputed land site in Abuja has drawn sharply contrasting reactions from a legal expert and a former military chief. Professor Sebastian Horn, a senior advocate of Nigeria, said the naval officer, Lieutenant A.M. Yerima, breached the law by obstructing Wike from accessing the land, even if acting on superior orders. He cited Supreme Court rulings stating that military personnel are not bound to follow unlawful commands and noted that Wike, as FCT minister, exercises presidential authority over land administration in Abuja. Horn warned that condoning such actions could encourage security personnel to defy civil authority, adding that the officer could face a court-martial for obstructing a public officer. In contrast, former Chief of Army Staff, retired Lieutenant General Toko Baratai, criticized Wike for verbally confronting the officer, calling it a threat to national security. He said the minister's conduct undermined the military chain of command and disrespected the authority of the commander-in-chief, urging Wike to apologize to President Bola Tinubu and the officer. Away from that, President Bola Tinubu has urged editors across the country to uphold the principles of responsible journalism to strengthen democratic governance and promote national cohesion. Tinubu made the call while declaring open the annual conference of the Nigerian Guild of Editors at the State House, Abuja. He commended the Guild for sustaining its tradition of reflection and professional engagement, describing the media as central to the preservation of democracy and national unity. The president said the theme for the conference, Democratic Governance and National Cohesion, the Role of Editors, was timely, urging editors to use their influence to strengthen public trust and deepen civic responsibility. President Tinubu, who reminded journalists of their pivotal role in nation building, warned against the dangers of misinformation, especially in the age of social media, stressing that verification, balance, and professional judgment must guide editorial decisions. Tinubu reaffirmed his administration's commitment to national security, economic stability, and inclusive growth through reforms aimed at strengthening Nigeria's economy. Speaking earlier, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, hailed the historic nature of the event, noting that it was the first time a sitting president attended the Guild's annual conference. Meanwhile, the Senate has approved President Bola Tinubu's request to raise 1.15 trillion naira from the domestic debt market to finance the unfunded portion of the 2025 budget deficit. The approval came after the adoption of a report presented by the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt during plenary on Wednesday, marking another step in the government's effort to sustain fiscal stability and ensure full execution of the 2025 budget. According to the committee's findings, the 2025 Appropriation Act provides for total expenditure of 59.99 trillion naira, representing an increase of 5.25 trillion naira from the 54.74 trillion naira earlier proposed by the executive. President Bola Tinubu had, on November 4, formally written to the Senate seeking approval to source the balance from the domestic debt market. In approving the request, the Senate also adopted a motion sponsored by Senator Abdul Ningi, mandating the Committee on Appropriations to strengthen oversight on the utilization of borrowed funds. Also, from the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate abandoned federal government-owned land properties and buildings across the country, reportedly valued at over 20 trillion naira. This followed the adoption of a motion of urgent national importance sponsored by the Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda during a plenary on Wednesday. Chinda cited Order 8, Rule 5 of the House Standing Orders and Sections 88 and 89 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, said the investigation was aimed at preventing further wastage of public resources and ensuring the recovery of valuable national assets. He referenced a 2021 report by the Nigerian Institution of Quantity Surveyors, which identified about 11,866 abandoned federal projects nationwide, representing approximately 63% of projects initiated since independence. Among the major properties listed by the lawmaker are the Federal Secretariat Complex in Ikoyi, Lagos, the Nigerian International Hotel Building, Suleja, Niger State, the Millennium Tower, Abuja, the Federal Inland Revenue Service Building in Abia State, and the Nigerian Newsprint Manufacturing Company. Following deliberations on the motion, the House unanimously adopted the motion through a voice vote presided over by the Speaker, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas. Moving on, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has launched a joint investigation with the United States Drug Enforcement Administration and the United Kingdom National Crime Agency to uncover those behind the importation of 1,000 kilograms of cocaine worth over $235 million. NDLEA spokesperson Femi Babafemi said the shipment was discovered inside an empty container at the PTML terminal of the Tinkan Island Port, Lagos. Terminal operators alerted port authorities, leading to a joint inspection by NDLEA and the Nigerian Customs Service. Field tests later confirmed the substance to be cocaine. The consignment, seized on Tuesday, has been described as the largest single cocaine seizure at the Tinkan port. NDLEA chairman, retired Brigadier General Buba Marwa, said the involvement of the US and UK agencies was necessary due to the scale and suspected international links of the cartel. And in other news, a new World Bank report titled The State of Social Safety Nets in Nigeria says about 44% of Nigeria's social welfare benefits reach poor citizens, despite billions spent yearly to fight poverty. The report blamed the inefficiency on poor targeting, weak funding, and fragmented implementation of social programs such as the National Social Safety Nets Program and the National Homegrown School Feeding Program. It explained that most schemes allocate a flat amount per household rather than per person, leaving larger poor families with less per head. According to the bank, Nigeria spends just 0.14% of its gross domestic product on social protection, which is far below the global and African averages. This has made little difference, reducing poverty by only 0.4 percentage points. In a related development, the United Nations has named Nigeria and Mali among 16 countries facing severe hunger risks, warning that millions could slip into famine without urgent help. In a report released today, the Food and Agriculture Organization and the World Food Programme said conflicts, violence, and lack of funding were worsening food crisis in several countries. Haiti, Mali, Palestine, South Sudan, Sudan, and Yemen were listed as the worst affected, while Nigeria, Afghanistan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Myanmar, Somalia, and Syria were classified as a very high concern. WFP Executive Director Cindy McCain said the world was on the brink of a preventable hunger catastrophe, warning that inaction could fuel more instability and migration. The UN agencies urged swift international funding and coordinated efforts to avert further deterioration in the affected regions. Let's go on a break now, and when we return, we'll tell you more about political development in the country. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. Moving to politics, the People's Democratic Party has reaffirmed that its planned national convention will proceed as scheduled from Saturday, November 15th to Sunday, November 16th in Ibadan, the capital state of Oyo. The National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologungba, who also served as Secretary of the Publicity and Communications Subcommittee of the National Convention Organizing Committee, said there were no changes to the convention timetable. Ologungba, in a statement on Wednesday, quoted the PDP's National Working Committee and the National Convention Organizing Committee as urging party members and the general public to disregard what they described as misleading claims spread by individuals allegedly recruited by the ruling All Progressives Congress to disrupt the convention. He said PDP is aware of the plots by APC to destabilize the opposition and impose a one-party state in the country, a design that will be lawfully resisted. While expressing gratitude to Nigerians for their overwhelming support, the PDP spokesman said the party looks forward to welcoming delegates, party leaders, and supporters who have already begun arriving in Ibadan ahead of the two-day event. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party in Anambra State has suspended its governorship candidate Jude Ezenwafo over alleged sabotage. The party's state executive committee made the decision at a meeting in Awka, where PDP state chairman Chidi Chidebe claimed Ezenwafo failed to campaign in any ward or local government area, spread false claims of assassination and extortion against party members, and formed a parallel gang of imposters to interfere with party functions. The party said the suspension is effective immediately and will last for a period of 1 month, adding that the disciplinary committee will investigate further and recommend additional action after the 1-month period. The PDP chairman in Anambra State, Chidi Chidebe, who spoke to journalists after the meeting, said the party had earlier expressed concerns over the disturbing conduct of Ezenwafo. Chidebe said the governorship candidates exhibited attitudes that were not only uncooperative but outrightly destructive to the collective interest of the party throughout the campaign period. In another news, 3 members of the National Assembly have switched allegiance to the All Progressives Congress amid ongoing internal crisis in opposition political parties. Senator Jarigbe Agom of the Cross River North announced his defection from the People's Democratic Party to APC, citing deep-seated divisions and factionalization within his former party. He said he joined the ruling party to align his constituents with President Bola Tinubu's development agenda. Jarigbe's move raises the number of APC senators to 76, while PDP now has 25 members. Also, in Kaduna State, House of Representatives member Daniel Amos represented Jamai Sanga Federal Constituency, left PDP for APC. Amos cited unresolved contradictions at the national level of PDP and said his decision followed consultations with his constituents to support Tinubu's administration's policy. And in the same vein, Sagir Koki, a member of the House of Representatives from Kano, resigned from the new Nigerian People's Party, blaming internal party leadership crisis that hindered his ability to serve his constituents. His resignation follows a series of recent high-profile exits from the NNPP in the state. Still on political development, Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, believes Nigeria can overcome insecurity and other national challenges through unity and local level reforms. At a lecture marking Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary, organized by the Arewa think tank at Arewa House, Kaduna, Governor Sanwo-Olu highlighted the need for state policing, full local government autonomy, and infrastructure projects linking cities and rural areas. The governor praised President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, noting that allocations to states increased by about 62% and local governments by roughly 47% between 2023 and 2024. During his address, Sanwo-Olu reaffirmed Nigeria's identity as a proudly multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and multicultural country, and urged Nigerians to focus on what unites rather than divides them. The event drew former governors, ministers, and industry leaders, and traditional rulers, underlining the broad cross-regional participation in the discussion, reflecting broad participation across the country. Let's go on a quick break now. When we return, we take you on the foreign news. Stay with us.
Data according to the United Nations World Food Programme says 30.6 million Nigerians face acute food insecurity. Experts blame on many factors which include the security challenges in the North and Middle Belt, post-harvest losses, poor storage facility, and a couple of other issues. Over the years, there have been efforts at boosting food production in Nigeria, taking advantage of its over 70 million hectares of land, multiple agroecological zones, and a climate favorable for year-round farming. There have been several other such interventions by governments at council, state, and federal levels, including the Produce for Lagos program and the 500 billion naira guarantee fund scheme by the Lagos state government. In September, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Yari, said the prices of food items have crashed across the country, but some Nigerians differ, saying they are yet to feel the ease.
Before, we said chicken for it before, but now we sell 5,000 naira. This one, before at the selling 300, now at the selling 500 because we know it don't cost. Down at the selling, before at the selling 3,500, now at the selling 6,000. So everything don't cost. About 2 months ago, we are buying the fruit like you rice or back of rice is 70-something thousand naira, like 75, 78, 73. But now 60, 62, 50, 55 safe. So if I look, it's gone down now. Not say like if you have increasing the price now.
2025 marks the 80th anniversary of the annual World Food Day, which is celebrated on October the 16th every year. This year with the theme, Hand in Hand for Better Food and a Better Future. The United Nations target building a peaceful, sustainable, and food-secure future where everyone has access to a healthy diet. To achieve this, experts suggest the way forward must be comprehensive, from tackling insecurity to investing in climate resilience farming to improving storage, irrigation, and transportation systems. That's in addition to strengthening farmers' cooperatives, access to finance and research. With the right investment, policies, and protection for its farmers, Nigeria may be on its way from food insecurity to food sovereignty. Because in a nation so richly blessed, no one should go hungry.
Welcome back. And on the foreign scene, 20 have been confirmed dead as a Turkish military cargo on its return to Azerbaijan crashes into eastern Georgia on Tuesday. Georgian authorities said the aircraft went down near the Singnagi region, about 5 kilometers from the Georgia-Azerbaijan border. Turkey's defense minister, Yaiza Gula, confirmed the death of all on-board personnel and expressed condolences to the families of the victims, describing the incident as a deep national loss, and pledged full cooperation with Georgian authorities to determine the cause of the crash. Early reports indicate that weather conditions were stable at the time, but officials have not ruled out mechanical failure or other technical causes. However, investigators from both Turkey and Georgia have been deployed to the crash site where wreckage and debris were scattered across a wide area. The tragedy marks one of Turkey's deadliest military aviation incidents in recent years and has prompted calls for a thorough review of flight safety protocols. A court in Libreville has sentenced the wife and son of former Gabonese President Ali Bongo to 20 years in prison for embezzlement and money laundering. The judgment, delivered by the country's specialized criminal court on Tuesday, was handed down in absentia as both were outside the country. The 62-year-old former First Lady, Sylvia Bongo, and her 33-year-old son, Nuruddin Bongo Valentin, were both accused of diverting public funds and laundering state money during Ali Bongo's rule. The two had been detained for nearly 2 years before being moved to house arrest in May and later flown to Angola for what authorities described as humanitarian reasons, and they are now believed to be in the United Kingdom. The court said the sentence was meant to restore order, not revenge, but Nuruddin Bongo and his lawyers dismissed the trial as unfair and politically motivated. The verdict marks one of the most significant legal actions since the 2023 military coup that removed Ali Bongo from power, ending more than 55 years. Let's go into the world of sports as Fawaz Akoshile gives us updates about Super Eagles' plan for Thursday's crucial match. Over to you, Fawaz.
Thank you. Welcome to Sports. It's going to Super Eagles Thursday player bomb. Reportedly training just over hours. The post made on X by Lucas Ecopsy night. Really that the player received qualifying for 5 accommodations to say World Cup. Some things as the payment dating as 20. Team William Trust on the post on X. The players at the top of the pay Nigerian Football Federation. The team on their own.
We apologize for that technical glitch. Let's move over to the world of entertainment, where Edith Lawrence is standing by. Over to you, Edith.
Thank you very much. And in the world of entertainment, Kiss Daniel fans are frustrated and furious as the artist had not attended his show in Paris. According to reports from his driver, Kiss Daniel wasn't able to make it to the show simply because he had a late flight. Amidst the chaos, Kiss Daniel had come out to explain why he wasn't able to make it to the show, stating the reason for the no-show was simply because of a dispute going on between the producers. He stated, and I quote, "First, that wasn't my fault. Whatever clips you're seeing is a dispute between my tour agent, Olamide Baron, and the show promoter. I was paid in full by Olamide Baron to perform in Paris. He sold the show to another promoter who allegedly breached the contract by not paying the balance." Adding to this, he said he was ready to perform but wasn't able to until the contract dispute has been resolved. Kiss Daniel is currently on his Maverick tour, which has taken him to several cities across Europe, and Paris was one of the tour stops. Moving on, popular Afrobeat superstar Wizkid is proud of his son and is showing fatherly love to him following his EP release named Champion's arrival. In a recently released video, the Grammy winner demonstrates his fatherly love for both his son and his fans. When he was asked about Champ's music, he said, "We love it, man. He's my kid, you know." Champion is also following in the footsteps of his father, who also started music at a very young age, 10, in a music choir. The EP topped Nigeria Apple's music charts, making him the youngest artist to have that accolade. He also charted 71 on the UK Apple Music Top Album charts. That's much we can take on entertainment. It's back to you for the rest of the bulletin.
Thank you, Edith. That's the much we can take for now. Thank you for tuning in to African News 24 TV. You can follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. And please check our website at africannews24.ng to stay informed and ahead. We will catch you on the next broadcast. I am Christiana Chikezie. So bye for now.